This Mobile Geeks video is powered by ASUS.
Hey Yoda, send an email to Jennifer Bell with the message, "Hi Jen, my morning's filled up. Can Can we change our 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock? Let me know, all right?
And the subject should be?
Meeting today.
Should I send it?
Yes.
Sending.
Morning, Nate. Hey, Tom. Hey, Tom. Latest test results back from engineering. So you see right there, the problem you're doing?
Hey Nate, need a lift?
Yeah. That's all right, I'll just walk.
Okay, Nate, take it away.
Okay, let's get started. The whole team's been working on this for a good 3-4 weeks.
Hey Nate, the designs look great. What's the next step?
Can you forward the message to the group? And schedule a video conference, thanks.
Fly, Betty, fly. When Betty stretches her wings, she is beautiful and sparkling. And she likes to play in the sunshine and flutter in the breeze. She loves it. When Betty stretches her wings, she is beautiful and sparkling. Oh, do you see that?
Yeah.
Look, put your hand up, see if it'll land on your hand.
Oh, awesome.
Isn't that cool?
It's cool. Mom, look it. There's a butterfly on my head. Wow.
So we just left the Intel press conference to kick off the E21 forum here at Computex 2015, and what you see in the background, that's Whitney, and she's wearing a 3D printed dress from Anouk Wipprecht. She's a Dutch tech fashion designer, basically. The cool thing about this is it's using the Edison technology from Intel. It's combined with a bunch of sensors, and well, actually, you know what? First of all, when you're getting closer, when you're getting into a personal space, right, you can see those spider legs just coming out. And this is based on this little PCB here. This is the Edison that Intel announced, I think, at CS 2014 for the very first time. And this now goes into fashion, which is really cool. You see, you know, what it can do for the future and what gives you, as a fashion designer, those opportunities that you're getting out of this. This is just the beginning. Actually, this is the second generation of the spider dress. You already did one before, right? But besides that, of course, the Intel keynote was all about the Internet of Things, about Moore's Law. It's the 50th year, actually, of one of Intel's co-founder, and he came up with the idea that every 2 years, the amount of transistors in the processor are going to double, and therefore, of course, also the performance. We saw some really cool new technologies. At the end, they were even showcasing the 6th generation of the core that should get into the market, I think, by the end of this year or next year. But anyways, they have some really, really cool reference designs. And actually, we took some footage of it, but before that, we're going to go back to the media center to wrap up the show.
So that was pretty cool, wasn't it?
You know, Intel never disappoints when they show me new things.
Yeah.
To start off, I'm going to start with the end. My favorite thing from the keynote had to be the 6th generation core devices. What was it called? The Panther?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that code name?
I'm not so sure about the code name, but I'm very, very sure about this massive screen, this massive
the
all-in-one
all-in-one
that they turned into this huge smartphone.
and a tablet.
But that was amazing.
Yeah.
Like with this little hinge there. And
So
the
it like
edge-to-edge
laid
display.
flat and it like looks, really something really gorgeous.
That was absolutely amazing. I was kind of expecting to see a little bit more about this, but they have nothing to show right now. Let's be
Yeah.
honest about this, which is okay, which keeps us excited for IDF, which is already happening in August, 18th
That's
of August.
Right. They moved IDF
4 weeks
up.
earlier.
Yeah, because usually it's kind of right before Apple's press event.
Yeah.
So and right after IDF, IFA, right?
Yeah,
but now
right
it's
after IFA.
actually right before, which actually could be a good thing for the industry. Maybe letting us know about processors that we can buy right before the very last show that shows us things we can buy for Christmas.
Or maybe getting technology pitched that we will see in devices during IFA.
That's true.
Because this is almost like 3 weeks or so. And
That would
they're
actually
going to line up these
be-
devices right now.
That would actually be much more exciting. Oh, look at you with so much faith.
So, yes, it's all about the Internet of Everything. It's about connected devices. It's about your connected space at home, your living room, your workspace. Okay, here are a couple of things that I really love about. First of all, pushing standards into the markets. This is, we're living in a world where so many manufacturers try to do their own thing.
Yeah.
But to see even the big guys coming together, working on standards, when we look at the 3 wireless charging standards that are now getting merged into this one consortium that is working on, actually you will be able to buy sleeves for smartphones that are supporting all 3 wireless standards in the
Yeah,
future.
and this is something that I like every time I went to like talk to these wireless charging guys. I'm like, can't you guys just get along? Can't you guys just get along? Finally, they're getting along.
So yeah, it's really happening.
Yeah.
And
Thank God, actually.
what's interesting, the way they're teaming up with furniture makers.
Yes.
What's her name? Kubiyoko?
I kinda missed it, but yeah,
It
yeah.
sounded very Japanese.
It sounded very
even though it
Japanese.
looked very Swedish. It looked
The
more
Japanese
like
and Swedish is really similar.
it looked more like it was coming from IKEA or something. But hey, guess what? What IKEA announced about 6 weeks ago, right?
Wireless charging furniture.
Yeah, whole product line. And I'm not sure, we took some pictures from this overview of all these companies. I'm not sure, maybe IKEA was on there. Somewhere where they have over 80 manufacturers combined in this huge merger of technologies.
And then they were showing off the companies that are actually really pushing these standards into the mainstream. I mean, Emirates, who was it? Marriott.
Yeah.
Right? You know, the San Francisco airport. I mean,
It makes perfect
as hipster
sense.
as they are. Yeah,
it makes perfect sense to kind of approach to these business travelers first.
Yeah.
Right? Because seriously, I mean, when you're going into a nice hotel in these days, yes, you already have on your desk or maybe even next to your bed or in front of the TV a nice I/O port panel, right? With HDMI, with a USB and all of this VGA, right? It's happening. But why do we need cables if we can do all of this wirelessly? Why do I need to have the PSU with me constantly while I can? I mean, it stands on this table.
Yeah.
And
And it's huge and it gets hot and
Yeah.
it's heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, in the keynote, one great visual was, you know, when Kirk was pushing, or when Kirk's assistant was pushing out that yoga ball wrapped in cables, being like, "There's so many wires in our lives," and it's true. This wireless, you know, this no wires future is definitely where we need to go, and it really can't happen soon enough. But the most important, you know, concept of them talking about this here is that this is where it's going to happen, right? It's the Taiwanese manufacturers that need to decide that they're going to embrace this future, because if they don't accept it, then it's not really going to be moving forward. And it's, like this is the one place in the world where you can actually get all of those decision makers into one room.
Well, why don't we look at some of the highlights of the keynote from Kirk?
So what I thought I'd do today is give you an example from Anouk Wyprecht. She's a Dutch fashion tech designer, but Anouk doesn't design with silk, fringe, or tassels. She's a next generation designer, and she's designing using sensors and technologies like 3D printing and electronics. In fact, her 2 latest designs are using this new Intel Edison module right here to combine things. Now, she wasn't able to join us today, but she is giving me the exclusive opportunity to show her newest creation, the spider dress, for the first time here in Taiwan. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Whitney and the spider dress. Hey, Whitney. So Anouk created this dress to protect a woman's personal space. I think what'll be interesting here is if I get a little bit too attracted to Whitney and I run up real close to her, you're going to see what happens to the dress. So the sensor technology comes up. Hi, Whitney. How are you? Whoa. So obviously, the dress is using sensors to react and send me a clear signal to back off. And there's lots of variations of this with sensors and colors to be able to show not only her mood, but obviously to show me to back off. So this is obviously one designer's example. We would love to see what the fashion experts across Asia can do with technology like Edison. So thank you, Anouk, for letting us profile this, and thank you, Whitney. You look gorgeous in the spider dress. Of course, drones are flying robots, and so what we're doing now is we're trying to give access to medical care and emergency defibrillators to the billions of people that don't have all-season roads around the world. We think drone technology can help us do this. This is an example of a module that we can actually fit on a drone, and you can see it actually has 6 RealSense cameras on here. So you can literally just point the drone from point A to point B, and it can guide itself with its own eyes in 3D around all the obstacles, saving precious minutes and bringing emergency medical care to people around the world. What I thought I'd do is just show you a couple of those applications with Craig here on what we've got going for both user-facing and world-facing.
Sure. Well, here I have a Core 2-in-1 tablet, and actually in tablet mode, and it has a great integrated world-facing RealSense camera that I have here. So I can do a couple of things with that, but I figure we'll just do a quick capture and share. If you want to go ahead and look as stately as possible, and I'm going to go ahead and capture Kirk's face here, and all of the individual points I'm able to go ahead and bring together and tie him into one great 3D model. And I'm going to go ahead and stop that. And this was really just a quick scan. I can go ahead and, if we wanted to build in all that detail and take a few seconds longer, but we've already done that beforehand. So with a perfectly scanned scan of Kirk, what can we do with that? Well, we can go ahead and do some 3D printing and make some action figures of his likeness, like you can do in some stores and that kind of thing. But what we thought was really cool to do was actually gamify his experience. So here we have virtual Kirk. He's inside the game. There we go. All right, next to some great brand names you would see there. And I know you don't break dance, in normal reality here, but in the virtual world, we can pretty much do anything that we want. Oh, yeah.
Well,
Just
that's
like
awesome.
that,
Being able to
great experience.
transform yourself with a simple 3D scan. And I believe President Obama in the US was the first person to be 3D scanned by the Smithsonian. Now you can all be 3D scanned just by buying a RealSense enabled 2-in-1. So here we have an application called Phase Shift, and sometimes when we'd like to be in a virtual world if you're chatting or something online. Yeah. And what I can do here with this new Asus system is if I just come closer here, it'll prepare an avatar for me. It takes just a little bit to get it going here. But once I'm here, now I can actually interact with this in chat sessions. And we plan to take this to all the local sites in the world. I could be a robot. I could be...
That's more your style. I'm thinking that is pretty much your style.
So you can see it's the humor that's coming and the excitement we put on the people's face in retail and why we have confidence that PC refresh is alive.
Yeah, this is our next generation office. It is completely free of wire. So with a transmitter like this, Kirk, we just wanted to go ahead and illustrate the fact that with magnetic resonance, we can go ahead and install it underneath our table here that we did in a partnership with Kikuyo. And that's just to illustrate the fact that not only can you buy beautiful pieces of furniture like this with this capability built in, but it's also very easy to install it yourself. So going up against that 2 inches of material, it makes it extremely simple and extremely easy to just
no
go
drilling
ahead
holes in tables or anything like that. You can actually transmit right through the table.
Exactly, and that makes it extremely inexpensive to do so wherever you want to implement it. So here, I actually have a couple of, all the way up to these 2-in-1 laptops, and they're charging away on the same table. But if I go ahead and take those away, just to illustrate our point, I want to go ahead and I have this LED board, and this particularly works with magnetic resonance and is going to light up for us and show us a visualization of our wireless hotspot just like that. So, pretty cool, but what do we go ahead and do with the wireless hotspot? Really, that's kind of the easy part. So here I have a wearable piece. I can go ahead and put this down. So our low energy devices, I want to make sure you guys can all see that. That's perfect. And then, all the way up to our phones, and we can go ahead and put this down and be able to wirelessly charge that guy as well. So he goes ahead and blinks up, and at the same time, be able to charge both devices at the same time through the same transmitter, so that's a little bit different. And I have all that spatial freedom to be able to move it around without having to completely match up against the coil. I can go ahead and move this device around however I want to and really have the spatial freedom to have both of these together at the same time. And that's something
So it
that's
starts out with 5-watt solutions, but we're committed to 10-watt, 20-watt, and ultimately getting up even higher.
You know what I also really liked about of this keynote? I think I said this already earlier. This is my phrase. You know what I really liked about this keynote? You have to keep in mind that Intel is here in Taiwan for 27 years now.
That's right.
27 years. That is almost 3 decades. And working together with the Taiwanese ODMs, with the Taiwanese OEMs, and creating interesting new platforms. Can you imagine, like 27 years ago, that was 1988, right? Mm-hmm. If I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. 1988, we had, we've had the DX268 processor. Yes, running Windows 3, Windows 3.1. Windows 3.1 for workgroups. I'm not kidding. OS half from IBM at that time.
Okay.
Quite an advanced system, by the way, compared to Windows 3.11. And they're supporting this industry since then. And for us, it's not only because we've been also doing so many events together with Intel, and Intel is our main sponsors for the Tech Lounge stream, and they were the first ones to really commit to us to do this here. It's also interesting to see how they're teaming up with the industry of the country that we choose as our home, which is Taiwan, and what kind of disruptive technologies and amazing platforms they created throughout all this time. With all the different OEMs. I don't even want to know how many design wins they have. We were talking about tens of thousands of devices throughout 27 years, definitely. Maybe not tens of thousands, but thousands of devices. I'm pretty good at exaggerating, I tell you that. So to see this, how they're embracing the Taiwanese industry, and but also to see their new strategy. And to see their whole portfolio, what they're delivering to you from the smallest little chip, and it can even get smaller than Edison in these days, to the latest Xeon processor. I think 80% of all servers on the internet are running on an Intel Xeon processor. But what they're also doing here, and I think a great example of showing you this range of different platforms, is what they're doing here with the U-Bike system. And actually, I just shot a video for a German business magazine.
That's right.
Together with Klaus about the infrastructure, the public transport infrastructure here in Taipei. It's a massive success story, the U-Bike. I remember the first U-Bike station back in like 2007 or 2008 over here. This was next to the one, just around the corner basically. It was just one station no one ever used this rental bike.
Well,
now
because
we
it went to the MRT,
Yeah.
and then when you got there, sometimes it was full, so you had to ride it back and put it back because you were like, well, I can't just leave it here. But I mean, the biggest testament to the success of the U-bike is that the reason why really everyone uses it, they tell me, because I actually have my own bicycle, it's because the first 30 minutes are free, and you can pretty much cycle.
Not anymore.
Really?
They're charging you 5 NTs, which is, okay, you're ready for this, which is roughly about, we're getting close to 18 US cents for the first 30 minutes.
18 cents for the first, oh, it's going to be unsuccessful now.
They have way over 100 stations.
Wow.
They have countrywide over 200 stations. We're talking about over 3 million rentals a month, rental activities. So 100,000 a day. And I would just love to show you a video. It's actually going to be the first video that I've recorded with a camera of the LG G4. To show you also how this is going to look like in a low light environment, right, with the optical image stabilizer and proper sensor. F1.8 aperture here. It's a great camera. Let's check out the U-Bike story during the intro keynote filmed with the LG G4.
As you know, U-Bike is the most successful application of smart city in Taipei.
台湾的微笑单车，也就是世界上普遍的公共自行车，目前在台湾的营运已经有台北市、新北市、台中市还有彰化市4个城市已经开始都已经建站，到现在已经有430站，到2015年就是今年底会有700站。那现在整个的会员人数也急剧成长，从2012年的15万到现在已经有达到330万左右成长了将近20倍。目前的交易笔数每天已经超过10万笔，周转率每部车每日约有8到10次左右。Intel 的产品在我们整个微笑单车公共自行车里面扮演的角色，在车主的部分，我们是使用 Park Process 来解决我们在现场车主的控制。那在 Kiosk 的部分跟 Gateway 的部分，我们使用的是 Atom 的Process 来解决我们每个场站上的 control 的需求。那在 Backend 的 Server， 我们用的是 Ion 的系统，那解决我们整个云端 Computing 跟 Big Data 的 Analysis。整个 Intel 的 Solution， 在它的Computing Power， 事实上对我们非常有帮忙，因为我们的功能会随着每个城市、每个地方不断的成长。那这样的机制可以配合我们的成长，让我们的运算能力可以一直的延伸。那其中整个 Gateway 提供给我们在 Security 跟 Remote Control 跟 Update 的部分有非常的帮忙，因为我们的系统事实上是不能中断的24小时运作，所以我们需要透过 Real Time 及时的去把 Security 跟 Remote 更新的部分做到最好的控制。
We all know that smart cities are coming, but they're going to start with smart buildings. Here in the Neihu district of Taipei, which is kind of just north of the 101, we're visiting ECS. And they've actually made this building smart about six or 7 months ago. So we're going to check out the gateway system that they've installed that is actually running on the Quark SoC, and to see exactly what the future of smart cities look like. So we're down here in the smart parking lot. Well, there's actually a lot of sensors. So when the car drives in through that entrance back there, it goes over an anti-pressure coil. And then there's a camera that will read the license plate. And then there's some sensors actually up in the roof when the car comes into the spot. So it can know whether or not that plate is supposed to be in this spot. Well, maybe. So back here behind me we have, well, it's not like a control panel, but it is a giant information panel letting you know about the health of the building. We see how much power was used the previous day, how much power the solar panels are taking in, and how much rainwater has been accumulated, and what the air quality is like outside. I know there's a few cities where that's pretty helpful.
One.